You mean city-run grocery stores don't actually work? Whoa!
Talk about a bombshell.
Can't believe it. 6:05. It is good to be here on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. We are always streaming on your KCMO Talk Radio app. This got national attention last night, and it is the lead story all over Kansas City this morning. From the Kansas City Star, after months of struggling and millions of dollars from the city, the Sunfresh Linwood has closed. The grocery store on Kansas City's east side was locked on Tuesday. A black tarp covered its logo. A sign on its door announced to customers that it would not reopen. Now, the city spent $17 million to acquire and redevelop Sunfresh. It opened in 2018. The nonprofit CBKC took it over in 2022. And just earlier this year, City Council approved an ordinance for the community builders to receive $161,000 in rent relief and $750,000 in expedited funding so that Sunfresh could remain open. And here they are on Wednesday, August 13th, closed. It's interesting because you have a guy in New York City right now who's running for mayor, probably the front runner, and he's talking about, you know what, we're going to lower prices? We're going to have city-run grocery stores. Well, buddy, come 1,200 miles out to your west here in Kansas City and see how that worked out. It failed, and it failed colossally.
Yeah, in a business with a 1-2% profit margin on products?
Absolutely. See how well that will work out for you in New York City. Because we just tried it here in Kansas City, and it failed. And, you know, the mayor of Kansas City, Quentin Lucas, he commented on this a couple of weeks ago on social media, and he said that the grocery store is privately run, having gotten subsidies to get food into communities in need. So, yes, was it privately run? Sure, it wasn't a true city-run operation. But you tell me, when you're a grocery store and the city of Kansas City is dumping millions and millions of dollars into that location, $17 million just to get it off the ground. While it may not be city-run, that's a heck of a generous subsidy. And it still failed. Why did it fail? Safety concerns, theft issues. What then happens? Foot traffic goes down. People don't want to get burglarized outside of the Sunfresh. All these different things stack on top of each other. And eventually, there's not enough customers. And the businesses are like, there's no point in us staying open, even though they got a lifeline from the city of Kansas City just a few months ago. It failed. And in most cases, it's going to when you're talking about some of these locations. Now, the good news is this. There's an Aldi about 7 blocks away. So for all these talks about food deserts, you know, you go to, I guess it would be 31st and Prospect, give or take, and you literally just go 8 blocks to the south. And at 38th and Prospect, you have an Aldi right there, which is fantastic. I mean, who doesn't love Aldi? Come on now. Mark loves Aldi. He's a big Aldi guy.
Oh, yeah. Love getting the quarters out to get the cart.
I know. That's the hardest part, remembering to have a quarter on you. If not, you're waiting for somebody who's coming out the door to be like, hey, can I grab your cart, please?
Oh, yeah. We always keep one in the car just in case.
That you keep quarters in the car just for Aldi?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. That's a loyal Aldi guy right there, Mark Van Sickle. I've never seen you in any Aldi gear, though, man. I need a hat or a T-shirt or something from you.
That's true.
We got to get you hooked up. We got to get that endorsement for Aldi, for Mark Van Sickle, after we get these 17 sports books we're trying to land for him. So yesterday on Fox 4, this went viral. Multiple online social media accounts picked up John Ketz of Fox 4 and part of his package from last night.
I don't understand. We need this store. We do.
Alicia Batson shopped here on Monday and was going to come back here for groceries today. As soon as our interview was done, she started to cry. Part of the reason why she was so emotional may be because of what she told us in the first 30 seconds of our conversation.
What are we supposed to do as a community? Where am I going to go now? Where am I going to go get stuff for my kids?
the good news is there is an Aldi close by. It's less than a mile down the road. But I understand if that Sunfresh at 31st and Prospect was super convenient for her, then this is a blow. That being said, the issues at this grocery store were rampant. Here's what the Kansas City Star reports. Shoppers and employees alike reported safety concerns, with shoppers reporting frequent 911 calls for fights, drug use, and public sex. Teenage grocery shelf stockers were forced to carry tasers. If you are a stock shelver at a grocery store and you got to bring a taser to work, I'm pretty sure you can find somewhere else to get a gig. Okay? That job is not going to be the fantastic job that's going to further your career. You got teenage shelf stockers who have to carry tasers when they're putting, a piece of fruit into the bin. Stock up the bananas. Where's my taser while I'm at it? I don't want to be blindsided here. A couple of cans of soup. Whoops, where's the taser? Stacking in the gallons of milk. Got to make sure I know where my taser is. There's no way to work. There's no way to live. It's also no way to shop. And that's why the consumer is never wrong. They walked out as well. They weren't going there anymore. So you had two things going on here. It was hard to hire. People didn't want to go there anymore. The people that did go there in too many cases were stealing from the place, and the whole thing blew up. And it blew up in the face of Sunfresh. It blew up in the face of Kansas City, Missouri. And this notion from so many, the mayor putting up on social media a couple of weeks ago, we and New York City subsidize sports and luxury housing. I see no controversy expanding access to food and transit too. Okay, so we do some dumb things. Therefore, it's okay to do other dumb things. I understand the subsidy game. I've never agreed with it inherently. I understand it's part of the way business is done. I also don't necessarily believe and don't think that subsidizing a sports team to some extent, as much as I inherently believe based on principle, it's a bad idea. Kicking some money back to the Chiefs, who have a multi-decade history of success and being a big part of the culture and the brand in Kansas City, is the same as saying to a food store, here's $17 million, good luck. Those two things are not equal. And now we have a prime example of why here in Kansas City. It is 6:13 as we get it rolling on a Wednesday morning on KCMO Talk Radio. It's a busy one as well. We've got a lot that we're going to be diving into this morning, especially with you. And I know that grocery store is not a place that many people in Kansas City right now are shopping, obviously. But I think that story matters because it shows you that when this stuff is tried, boy, does it fail, and it fails miserably. Paul's in Kansas City. Hi, Paul. You're on KCMO.
Hey, Pete, I saw that. On one hand, Mayor Lucas is out in Belton lauding a cold storage plant being opened by the private sector. The next minute, he's responsible for a socialist grocery store closing. And this is stunning. This $750,000 they gave him 2 months ago, they got to investigate and find out where that money went to. This is every Kansas City should be outraged on this.
I will. I'll ask the mayor about it tomorrow morning. That's a good point there, Paul. Thank you, buddy.
Yes, sir. You bet, buddy. Bye.
I appreciate you. Yeah, I will talk to the mayor tomorrow morning at 7:30. We have him on every Thursday at 7:30, and this will definitely be a topic of conversation. Coming up next on KCMO, we hit a big number yesterday, but not the kind of number you want to hit in this country. I'll explain next. Country hit a brutal number I'll tell you about here coming up in a couple of minutes. Our lead story this morning in Kansas City is a story that's gotten national attention, and that is this Sunfresh at 31st and Prospect that officially shut down yesterday. Got tens of millions of dollars in subsidies from the city of Kansas City, and it has colossally crashed and burned. Steven is on KCMO. What's up, Steven?
Doc, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How's that wind tunnel there?
I'm living. I left my windows up. Sorry. It's good to hear your voice. I hadn't talked to you in a while. I just want to say that I grew up in the neighborhood. I go back to that neighborhood back in the 70s when St. Joseph Medical Center was on that site where that store was back in the 70s. And that neighborhood has digressed a great deal. And they sweep stuff under the rug and don't deal with issues that keep causing symptoms. Like, for instance, when the lady that owned it at one time, they were having problems with people coming in there shooting up the store, and then when the police would get involved, I won't call no names, but you got some of the political organizations down there was mad with the police because the police was too rough on the guys. They didn't have to slam them to the ground, all that. Just recently, I guess it's been like in the last 4 or 5 months, there was a young man that was in there. He had a gun, and the policeman took him to the ground. This is a black policeman. And he took him to the ground, and he, you know how you lay on a person and hold him down. And we was in a meeting, and one of the community leaders was making a big issue about that, telling me he had to do that like that. You can't have it both ways. You want justice and you want safety, but then you get mad when they're doing their job. And so this is the result of liberalism and no structure. And so it doesn't surprise me it went that way. I'm surprised it didn't go away that way earlier. You know what I mean? And then the employees got to come to work. If they be a witness to what's going on, they're threatened by the people that they're having arrested.
Yeah,
that's why they didn't want to come to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all this stuff just feeds on top of each other, and it's not one thing, but there's certainly not a government check that's going to fix any of this because of some of the social rot that you're talking about, Stephen. So good job.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Good to talk to you, man. I appreciate the call. Stephen Lee Summit. What's up, Steve?
Yes, I'm familiar with Aldi's. You brought up the Aldi's. I've been in that store on Prospect there, and they had sale flyers, and those sale flyers, the stuff they had in them was, well, they didn't have the expensive stuff, and was like lobster tails. So I talked with the manager. He says, well, we don't even carry them here because we can't keep them. They steal them. And then I talked with the same thing with the Aldi's manager out there at the St. John and Winter Road in Independence, and they just, if they steal the stuff, they just don't carry it, the expensive stuff. So, and I'm really alarmed now about Blue Springs, the Aldi's on 7 Highway. There's homeless people living behind that, right in front of the United States Post Office there, and nobody does anything about it. And I know they go in there and steal all the time.
Well, here's what I would say to that then, Steve. The deal with the Aldi's down on 39th and Prospect not carrying certain foods because people steal from it, the private sector folks who know they're not getting a city bailout basically adjust based on what's happening in the marketplace around them. That Aldi obviously wants to survive. They won't survive if they keep paying for expensive foods to come in that end up getting stolen, right? So they adjust basically their business model, and they're not going to have certain foods at that Aldi because basically people rob from it. It's just how it works. But they're not putting the hand out saying, hey, City of Kansas City, would you help us out here? Would you kick in a little bit? They just say, no, I guess we can't carry that stuff. It's too bad because there's people that would pay for it, but unfortunately it ends up being a loser for them. So we'll get to more of this throughout the morning on KCMO. Trying to get a couple of folks who will talk about this. Obviously, the mayor will be on tomorrow. But we're not getting a lot of people in and around Kansas City who want to be talking about this story for obvious reasons. It's not exactly a success story for this town right now. In the meantime, the number that I was teasing earlier, $37 trillion of debt we have surpassed in this country. Now, I saw Thomas Massie, he is a representative out of Kentucky, post last night, 10 hours ago. Thanks to the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, the debt just officially passed the $37 trillion mark. I saw some reports saying that it officially passed $37 trillion over the weekend, but I saw a lot of various folks, including people in Congress, saying that it passed $37 trillion yesterday. I want to put this into some perspective for you here. You go back not all that long ago, but let's just, for sake of this conversation, all right, let's go back. It's 2025 right now. Let's go back to August of 2015. Our debt in August of 2015 was $18 trillion. That was the tail end of the Obama era. We have now more than doubled that number in 10 years. Go back to 2005, August. We had $7.9 trillion in debt. The debt in August of 95 was $4.9 trillion. So in the last 30 years, we went from 4.9 trillion to 7.9 to 18.1 to now $37 trillion in debt. It's really unfathomable. And I see a lot of members of Congress who voted for a one big beautiful bill that, yes, had a lot of beauty to it, but also had a lot of ugly to it. Okay? A lot of ugly to it. There's no denying that. There's too much spending, and no one has the cojones to rein any of it in. We are now up in U.S. debt $780 billion since the debt ceiling was raised following the signing of the One Big Beautiful Bill on July 4th. That is $22 billion per day. I know we can't even fathom these numbers. I understand it's like talking about monopoly money here. And yes, having higher interest rates is making things worse because we're paying interest on this debt. We'll be having to refinance a lot of this debt at higher rates, and that's ugly. That's only going to make this whole thing worse. But you tell me, what's it going to take to get these people serious about looking at our financial house and trying to get it in somewhat of an order? And if you think like, oh, if we just remove funding to a couple of foreign countries, that'll fix it. No, it won't. Half the budget is entitlements. It's Social Security. It's Medicare. It's Medicaid. Half of it comes and goes to those places. Until somebody tackles it, this is not going to change. Yes, I am a believer in the pro-growth policies of this White House and this president. I am firmly behind those. But you can't grow your way out of $37 trillion in debt. You just can't do it. And the sooner we come to that realization, the better. And Republicans like to talk about this stuff when they're not in power. When they are, not as much. Not nearly as much interest. Makes you wonder why. Coming up on KCMO, can we get our kids healthy? And there's someone locally who may be and will be leading the charge nationally. We'll get to the details next. Kids are going back to school today on the Kansas side of the state line. I know for my oldest, Claire, she'll be hopping on that bus and starting first grade. They've got a half day today before they get into the full swing of things tomorrow. I just texted Kate and I said, make sure you send me some pictures. I can't wait to see those photos. It's going to bring a big old smile to my face. How about you, Mark? You ready for the first day of school for your girls? What are they starting?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. Riley starts today, and then Brielle starts tomorrow.
Okay. What grades?
5th and 7th.
Wow, you got a 7th grader, man.
Know. I can't even believe it.
7th grader and a 1.5-year-old.
Yeah.
Boy, you got it all covered right now.
Got a separation there, but
jeez.
It's all right.
That's cool. It's good, man. It's good. You're blessed.
I got a 7th grader, grandson.
There you go. There you go. Mark will be getting some photos here. John will be getting some photos here. We'll all be getting the first day of school
I'm
photos.
on pickup duty.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, Monday,
wow.
Tuesdays.
How about that?
I'm pressed into service, man.
Oh, that's good. Oh, boy, that's great. Well, one thing that's going to be new this year potentially is that the presidential fitness tests are going to be returning. This after the president signed an executive order in the last couple of weeks, bringing back the presidential fitness test, which was phased out by President Obama back in 2013. So I can't wait. And yesterday, Bryson DeChambeau, who is on this Presidential Fitness Council, was on the Pat McAfee show. So it's Bryson, our own Harrison Butker of the Kansas City Chiefs was, of course, at the announcement as well. You had Triple H there, the former pro wrestler, a dude still jacked. Trump was admiring his muscles at that press conference a couple of weeks back. So Bryson DeChambeau, I can't call him a PGA Tour golfer anymore because he's on that dopey live tour. But still, great golfer, one of the best in the world. He goes on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, and he explains what exactly their goal is for physical fitness, which is so long overdue to bring back. Okay, I know that, like, we have to care about people's feelings and kids' feelings and stuff like that, and we should. But you know what we have to do? We got to bring back the health of our youth because we are trending in such a negative direction on childhood obesity. And not that this is going to be the thing that fixes it, but you combine bringing back fitness with the Make America Healthy Again movement, getting some of this crap out of our food. It is at least something that you see our leaders right now trying to tackle and trying to get a handle on and trying to reverse. And if nothing else, considering we've gotten 10 years without anybody doing anything about it, this is a step in the right direction. And I will support this and cheerlead this all day. And I promise you, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it was Democrats doing it, Republicans, doesn't matter to me. I will cheerlead this stuff all day, every day, John.
I'm with you. I think it's worth keeping in mind that kind of like participation trophies, the parents perhaps play a bigger part than they are given credit for here. You know, what you feed the kid, when you feed the kid, that kind of thing, you know. They have to go to school and do the physical fitness test, but, you know, there's no point putting them behind the 8 ball by sending them to school 20 pounds overweight.
That's a good point. You see some of this crap, too, in these kids' lunches. It's like, whoa, all right. Bryson DeChambeau, Pat McAfee show yesterday.
Here's the mission. Is it like presidential fitness type stuff? Are we getting back into that?
I mean, look, we're not going to be difficult with anybody. We want people, even if they can't do a pull-up, let's say, right? You have pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups. We're potentially putting in like a farmer's walk. We're thinking about different ideas and how to give people the best opportunity to lead successful and healthy lives from the start. I mean, we know from science that if you start working out later in your life, you don't have the same capacity as when you did earlier in your life. Like if you started when you were a teenager working out and being active, you have a longer lifespan potential. And so that's the part that we're trying to instill in kids, is to empower these kids to work out every day. Well, not every day, but just be healthy, get outside and engage them. And so when we're testing people, it's going to be more of a, hey, where's your baseline? Our phase one is like, where's our baseline? What are we at? Can you do a pull-up? I mean, can you do a pull-up?
Okay,
thank
God.
Sick.
I was thinking about that.
That's good.
All the things you said. The boys over here are like, I can do a push-up right now.
Hold on.
I can do
one sit-up. I can get one.
Yeah. That's right. So once we establish a baseline, then we give you recommendations on how to work out every day, every other day, consistently improving yourself until we do sort of a secondary baseline test in the wintertime. And then once the test comes around at the end of the year, it'll be the president's physical fitness test. We'll do a fitness test to see how successful you've been in the changes you've made over the course of time. But again, it's not necessarily we're going like, oh, here's the best athlete of every single school, because it's already kind of defined in a sense. They get scholarships and whatnot. But there's the potential for somebody based on a teacher's eye assessment, because there's a lot of people that can also go, oh, I'm not going to do anything the first test, and then they'll go and outperform, and they're the most valuable or most improved person. We don't want that. We want somebody that's actually genuinely improving. So it's going to be a lot of teacher-based understanding of like where that person is to how they're improving. And so we're going to work with the teachers, the school districts, states to help implement the physical fitness test, and then give some better curriculum-based initiatives for kids to get healthier. So that's what we're excited about. That's just a start. We've got numerous other ideas outside the physical fitness test that we're looking at.
That was pro golfer Bryson DeChambeau on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. And I'm so glad that we're having the conversation. Because when you look at childhood obesity in this country, back in the late 80s, early 90s, the childhood obesity rate, basically 6 to 18 years old, was right around 10%. The most recent numbers we have for 2017, 2018, I'm looking at this from the CDC, is around 20%. So it's doubled. And it's only gotten worse since COVID. I mean, these numbers I'm looking at, once again, are, 7, 8 years old at this point. So it's only gotten worse over the last few years, right? Screen use obviously increasing, activity decreasing, food intake increasing. At home during COVID did not help at all. Got a lot of bad habits coming out of that. So these numbers continue to get progressively worse. And with obesity, we know comes mental health issues, right? Especially when you're talking about young people and adolescents. So we're bringing this back to the top of mind, bringing it back to the forefront. The conversation needs to be had. And Mark, you were at back to school night last night. You bumped into your middle child's gym teacher, and he's bringing back that physical fitness test. Let's go.
Yeah, he's said they're getting the pacer back in there, and he's maybe thinking about doing the rope climb again and all the stuff that maybe went away for a little bit. He said it's coming back. He doesn't know the exact stuff yet from the president, but he said he's going to keep an eye out for it.
All right. Well, we got to make sure that the middle school there in Olathe gets a direct line to the White House to figure out what's going on. That's outstanding.
I remember climbing the rope in junior high, and it was easier, actually, once you got above about the first 10 feet where everybody got and their feet were slipping. It was easier to get up there. But I realized I got up to the top. A bunch of people had signed their names. And I'm like, crap. I'm in my gym shorts. Like, I didn't bring a pencil. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to be back up here again anytime soon, so oh well.
You're right, though. It does get easier once the rope tightens up, once you get beyond that first 10 feet.
And people haven't worn down the tread.
It's more about being afraid of the heights the further you get up there.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
Don't look down.
Yeah, don't look down. Now, let me address this on the text line, because I think this is actually a fair criticism from one of our many trolls on the text line. But I'm here for it. I'll answer it. I wish you'd call in, but I'll answer it via text. Pete, Michelle Obama tried to get kids healthy, and you ridiculed and mocked her for it. Well, first off, I wasn't doing this when Michelle Obama rolled out Let's Move in 2010. It's 15 years ago. I was wrapping up senior year of college at Villanova, and I was moving plenty, especially my right bicep working those beers. I was really moving back then.
Well, you being all of us as the Republican Borg, right?
Yes. So I would agree that the Michelle Obama Let's Move campaign and her attempt to make school lunches healthier, those ideas that were more so the school lunch thing ridiculed by Republicans at the time, was in hindsight really dumb and bad politics and not good for the American student. It wasn't. It was at a time when Republicans, obviously, during Obama's first term, were just trying to oppose everything he did. Where have we seen that before? And they had their partisan blinders on, even on an idea that was not only relatively harmless, but was actually a good idea. But Republicans didn't get on board with it. Now, do I think that that dramatically would have changed anything today? I don't know. I mean, maybe a little bit. But either way, I'll give that texter that. I'll say, yeah, sure, you're right. Republicans were just all against that stuff because, well, it had an Obama attached to it. And it was a good idea with a good mission to make the school lunches healthier and let's move and get kids outside 60 minutes a day exercising. All that stuff was good. And Republicans in hindsight should not have opposed it. So if you want to come at us on the text line and say that, okay, I'll give it to you. So why don't you jump on board with this administration on this attempt to bring back things like the presidential fitness test, to embrace the Make America Healthy Again movement? Don't make the same mistake that you may say our side, in air quotes, made 15 years ago. Don't do it. Learn from our mistakes. And I don't mean my mistakes, but I mean, the people that I affiliate with's mistakes. Don't make that same mistake. Let's all get together because our kids' health depends on it. So you're telling me that a sport that is completely a lawless free-for-all, large sums of money flow to players who can be free agents twice a year. Now, the people in charge of that sport are outraged, absolutely outraged in some cases, about a Venmo description from 2022. You've got to be kidding me. It is 7:34 on a Wednesday morning. So college football is right around the corner. If you're a KU K-State fan, you are, 10 days away from your college football season starting? Mizzou's got a couple of weeks, but you've got the KU K-State games coming up next Saturday in what they call Week 0, which is so dumb. Just call that Week 1. What are we doing with Week 0? But that's a total sidebar tangent I won't go down right now. So you look at the story. John Mateer is the quarterback for the Oklahoma Sooners. He's got a lot of hype around him. OU has been down the last couple of years. There's a belief that this guy could be the next star quarterback for the Oklahoma Sooners. And he is in some hot water right now because there was a Venmo transaction that fans dug up from almost 3 years ago of him Venmoing his buddy for what was described, because on Venmo you describe every transaction, or you can if you want to. I don't do a lot of Venmo, but when I do Venmo, I never put what it's for. It's like, and I also don't make them public. That's the other thing.
Yeah, keep it private, guys.
You can keep the Venmo transaction private, but even when I make them private, I'm just neurotic about it, so I just put a little cash emoji in there. Like, the person who I'm Venmoing knows why I'm Venmoing them. They don't need a full-blown description, a date. This isn't like some banking operation here, okay? The person knows why I'm Venmoing them. I put the cash emoji in there, and I always try to make sure I make that transaction on Venmo private. But this guy, back in 2022, his name is John Mateer. He was not at Oklahoma then. He was at Washington State. And college football fans are nuts, by the way. Only in college football does somebody dig up 3-year-old Venmo transactions from a quarterback. On November 20th of 2022, he Venmoed a friend, and it was described as sports gambling. UCLA versus USC. So now there's an investigation going on. Now, John Mateer has denied this. He put out a statement yesterday saying the allegations that I once participated in sports gambling are false. My previous Venmo descriptions did not accurately portray the transactions in question, but were instead inside jokes between me and my friends. I have never bet on sports. I understand the seriousness of this matter, but recognize that taken out of context, those Venmo descriptions suggest otherwise. I can assure my teammates, coaches, and officials at the NCAA that I have not engaged in any sports gambling. Now, let's be clear. I don't believe him. It's not like he sent his buddy a Venmo transaction and he, had a description that was like, blow from a great weekend with friends or something like that. If he did that, I would say, okay, maybe that was some kind of a joke. But the Venmo transaction reads, sports betting, parentheses, UCLA versus USC. It's like, that's pretty descriptive, okay? I don't think there's any inside joke there. But I get why he's basically claiming that this is not something that happened. You can't tie him back to some type of online app if it was just a Venmo transaction. So I think he's lying. I don't think he's telling the truth for a second. That being said, the fact that the NCAA is going to do anything about this is a joke. The NCAA is the biggest joke in North American sports. The NCAA is the one that allowed college football to become a lawless free-for-all with large sums of money flowing to players who can be free agents twice a year. And now the NCAA is going to be outraged and investigate, air quotes, a guy who may have Venmoed another guy for a sports bet 3 years ago. What are we doing here? I mean, as much as I don't believe John Mateer, I'll defend him against the joke that is the NCAA.
What was the date of that transaction again?
November 20th of 2022.
All right. USC beat UCLA 48-45 the day before that happened.
Okay. So, yeah, there's no joke here.
Caleb Williams with a great game.
Did you
USC.
Did you bet that game, Mark?
I did not.
Oh, yeah. I guess
I
it wasn't.
Can remember.
Well, it wasn't legal here in Kansas, so I hope you weren't betting
it. Oh, yeah,
it.
then I would not have.
I don't want to get you in trouble with, state law enforcement here, okay? Yeah. So let's just say you were not betting that game, Mark. All right?
Yeah, I would not have.
You would never have
I honestly
broken the
didn't
law.
start till September 2023. So.
That's right. Yes. So you were not betting that game. But I just, any time that I can blast on the NCAA, trust me, I'm going to do it. And this is just the latest example of a joke of an institution trying to now flex its muscles and act like it's going to be, the official organization to oversee college sports. Guys, you gave that up a long time ago. And please don't start now. Don't try to get your sacred cow with John Mateer might have bet on a sports game 3 years ago. Just let it go. You have no juice. You have absolutely no power. And nobody around college sports has an ounce of respect for you. Meantime, this just dropped. We got a trailer. You got the audio here, Mark? You got the trailer?
Yeah.
All right. New Heights podcast. Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce, they have announced, and we knew this yesterday, that Taylor Swift was going to be on the podcast. It is coming out today, and the trailer for the podcast dropped, and it starts with Jason Kelce doing a long introduction of Taylor Swift. I guess he does this for every guest, Mark. Is that how this goes?
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want me to do about halfway through the intro? Because I can cut it in half.
Are you going to get the Jason part in there?
Yeah.
And then you got Taylor's part on the back end?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever you got, whatever you think is good. Okay. Here we go. Jason Kelce introducing Taylor Swift on the New Heights podcast.
Are you ready for it? Making your podcasting debut, the most aggressive guest in the history of shows, Taylor Swift!
That intro, Jason. Oh my God.
I've seen this before.
No, look, his soul has left his body.
I'm cramping. I'm cramping.
No, that was so good. Thank you.
I tried, Tay.
Thank you for screaming for like 47 seconds. That was so nice. That was so sweet.
Tay, welcome to New Heights.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on my favorite podcast. As we all know, you guys have a lot of male sports fans that listen to your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we all know that if there's one thing that male sports fans want to see in their spaces and on their screens, it's more of me.
That's actually pretty good right there from Taylor Swift. I respect that. That's funny. That is funny. Making fun of herself. Because, listen, of course, the last couple of years, what have we heard? Oh, I'm so sick of seeing Taylor Swift at a football game. I don't want to see Taylor Swift. All right, how many times can I watch guys slap each other in the tush, okay? I'll look at Taylor Swift once in a while. It's fine. No one's going to get hurt. Get over it.
The dads, Brads, and Chads, right?
Yeah, mostly the Chads. Okay, the dads are fine with it. Dads will be okay. The Brads will be all right. The Chads. Chad is Karen. Chad and Karen deserve each other. And they're mostly Chads who get really upset about seeing Taylor Swift for like a total of 18 seconds in a 3-hour football game broadcast. And Taylor Swift, to her credit, making fun of herself and understanding that, hey, I may not be the most popular person you have on here for some of your favorite viewers and listeners, is a self-deprecating moment that I actually get a kick out of. If our biggest celebrities have more of those, we're better off. And she just had one there in that trailer. That's pretty good. I like it, John.
Shows she has total command of the market.
Yes.
She knows where she's popular, knows where she's lukewarm.
Yep.
Knows where she's not popular.
Exactly right. And being self-aware of that and then being able to joke about it and have some fun at your own expense. That's good.
I'm not getting all boo-hoo about the fact that you're not going to convert some,
exactly.
Right? You just live with it like, okay, well, these people don't want to see me.
She's not playing the victim card like,
right.
Oh, I bet your listeners don't even like that I'm on.
There you go.
Touché.
Oh,
boy. Oh, I'm a victim. No, you're a billionaire living your best life, finally dating a real man instead of some of these soy boys that you've been, dating for far too long. I'm just waiting for him to finally put a ring on it. I will tell you, though, I think we're getting close. I don't believe she would have joined the podcast if there was trouble in paradise and she was getting annoyed with the fact that he wasn't going to propose. So she opened herself up. She knows it's very good for their business and that show, and they've got that, $100 million podcast deal on the table right now. So she knows this is huge for their brand. So if she was secretly upset with Travis in some way, she wouldn't have done this. She knows this is way bigger for them than it is for her. Let's be honest here. That's a good trailer. I like that. When's that come out there, Mark?
Tonight at 6 o'clock our time on YouTube. I believe it goes to Spotify and Apple tonight as well. I guess I can't confirm that, but
all right.
6 o'clock our time.
Well, you'll be on it tonight. You'll let me know what happens.
Oh yeah, I'll be able to get to it about 6:30. So I'll be about 30 minutes behind everybody else.
All right. Well, you send us the viral moments, and we'll run it back in the morning.
We'll do.
All right. Well done there. Well done. 7:44. Happy Wednesday. Glad you're here on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. We're streaming on the KCMO Talk Radio app as always. Make sure you download it. Or if you're at the home office, KCMOTalkRadio.com. Also, the best way to join us all morning long. Well, Mark, can I just roast you for something here? Do you mind?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
All right. I'm going to break first and then roast you. I was very disappointed when I saw this. I'll explain next.
98 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of Kansas City has been repairing and replacing garage doors. Locally owned and operated since 1927. Headquartered in Olathe. Always look for the iconic red ribbon of the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. For same-day repair service 24/7, call Overhead Door Company of Kansas City, 816-221-0072, or schedule online at ohdkc.com.
Okay, team. New strategy. Bad mouth Housemax and hope nobody notices we lowball.
Yep, the competition's talking about us a lot because Housemax keeps beating their offers with real cash, real speed, and real respect. We don't need gimmicks or gossip. We make it simple. No pressure, no games, just honest home buying. Call 913-777-SOLD or visit housemax.com. Housemax, Kansas City's locally owned and operated no-nonsense home buyer.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Vince Colonnese is redefining news talk.
The evidence is massive and overwhelming. We really do have the best damn audience in media. You guys are very good. We navigate everything going on in the world. And then we'll break it down going into the future. I break down everything that we're seeing right now and how I'm feeling about it.
In-depth interviews, live caller interactions, and a front row seat to the most important conversations of the day.
God bless all of you. Put your patriotic swag on. Let the work begin.
The Vince Show.
Stand clear, everybody.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Everyone knows the highest quality siding you can put on your home is James Hardie Siding. It carries a 30-year warranty on the siding, a 15-year warranty on the paint. It will not burn. Termites won't eat it, since fiber cement isn't on their menu. And it'll stand up like no other siding to the brutal weather we have here in the Midwest. So, who do you call to install Hardie Siding on your home? Thermo King, that's who. With over 20 years installing siding and thousands of satisfied customers, Thermo King's highly trained, highly skilled crews have the expertise to seal up your home tighter than Fort Knox and do it right the first time. Right now, save up to $2,500 on a whole home of siding. Replace your windows or entry door and save even more. Don't leave your new siding to chance. Call the experts at Thermo King. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermoking.com.
Thermo King windows, doors, and siding. thermoking.com.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at EnduranceWarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-417-0869. 800-417-0869. 800-417-0869.
KCMO Talk Radio traffic on 95.7 FM.
Missouri side stall 35 southbound at 435 on the right shoulder. Slow pocket southbound 35 at 69 Vivian. 71 northbound a slow pocket at Blue River Road. Kansas side slow and go 635 southbound at Shawnee Drive. I'm Wendy with your Right Now traffic.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive Insurance, they offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options to cover your small business needs and more. Visit Progressive.com today. Again, that's Progressive.com.
KCTV 5 First Warn 5 forecast.
Areas of patchy dense fog are possible this morning. Otherwise, mostly sunny skies with temperatures in the 60s and 70s as you head out the door. By lunch, we're in the lower 80s, and this afternoon we hit 85 with mostly sunny skies and a 20% chance for rain. From KCTV5, I'm First Warn 5 meteorologist Melissa Meter.
You're listening to Mundo in the Morning on KCMO Talk Radio, 95.7 FM.
Rolling through the boys' social media, which means Mark, because John doesn't have one. He was on Twitter X for about a day, and then he got banned and didn't go back on. So that's a story for another day, but, it is what it is. One day we'll get him back on the old social media app. But I found out yesterday, after railing for years on how I wouldn't hire somebody who puts pronouns in their email signatures or bios, I found out that our own Mark has pronouns in his Instagram, and we did not follow each other on Instagram for a while, but I stumbled upon his Instagram yesterday, and I'm like, oh, yeah, look, there's Mark on Instagram. And I don't think Mark uses a lot of Instagram either, but I stumble upon his Instagram, and then I see the dreaded he-him.
Better than they, them, though, right?
It's a low bar, Mark. It's a very low bar. So I would like you to defend yourself on why you should not be terminated by the end of the week after, I've got a credibility to uphold here. And I've been saying forever, I can't take anyone seriously who's got pronouns in their bio or pronouns in their email signature. And now I find out that, well, you've done that on your own Instagram page. So please, this is your moment to defend yourself and protect your own employment.
Yes, there was an update a little over a year ago, I believe, where I just signed into Instagram like I normally would, and it said options of pronouns. And so I was like, oh, yeah. I click on it. He, him, obviously. I'm not going to do anything else. And I just clicked on it. I didn't think anything of it. And then I didn't even realize it was sitting there on my bio. I just thought that I clicked on it when they did the update. I didn't even know I did it, honestly. So that's my excuse. I don't know if it's a good one, but it's true.
What do you think, John? Does that pass the smell test for you?
Well, I would say in this day and age, it's likely that box appeared. And then like the Seinfeld episode with the ribbon and Kramer, you can't opt out. You can't put nothing, so you have to choose something.
Well, I don't remember this. I mean, maybe I did the same thing, but I know damn well, because I would look at my own Instagram quite frequently, that my pronouns are nowhere to be found on my bio. So I don't know if that is true, Mark. I will take you at your word because you are an upstanding guy and you've never lied once to me. But I'm struggling. I'm not going to lie. I'm struggling, man.
I just went there. I can actually take it off now. I went to my profile and I found out how I can take it off, or I can add new ones.
Oh, what are the options?
Oh, we want to go through that right now?
Zim,
just give me the rundown. Because I don't want to have to do it on my Instagram. So give me the rundown.
I was going to say you've got the whole.
It's
gamut.
the whole gamut.
The errors, zoozims, whatever. We did the whole thing a little while back.
Oh wow! So it's not just they, them, she, her, he, him.
It's all these Chinese names.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yes, that's exactly what I thought.
Beijing, okay.
Xinjiang, yes.
Okay, they literally sound like made-up Chinese cities. Okay.
Errors was the weird one for me. I'm like, M's, I don't know.
How about this? As punishment, you've got to make your pronouns one of those dopey things for at least a week.
Okay, I was thinking about it. You could have up to 4.
What?
So I think I'm just going to add 2 extra.
Okay. Yeah, use the Zer, if you don't mind doing that one. The ZHER.
Okay.
Yeah. Please go ahead and put that on there as well. That is considered a feminine set of neo-pronouns.
Oh.
Drawing inspiration from she, her, and Z-Zer.
At Mizzou.
Yeah, that's the backup kicker.
The kicker, yes.
All right, Mark, that's your punishment. You've got to add a couple of pronouns to your Instagram for the next week.
All right. Sounds good.
We'll reevaluate next Wednesday and see how you're holding up. Okay. In the meantime, John's old college roommate, Frank Bisignano, he ends up as the Social Security Commissioner. He goes on CNBC this morning and talks about how if you are a Social Security recipient, this is some good news. They are cleaning this place up. Mark, you got that clip of Frank Bisignano? Let's roll it here from CNBC this morning. Here's what he said about cleaning up the Social Security website.
And today we have more than 300 million Americans who have Social Security numbers, and they're live in the system. People like to talk about the 70 million plus beneficiaries, and we do make those payments every month. But I think that that's one piece of the equation. And we're running a digital business now. We have more transactions online than anywhere else. And the bold goal here is 200 million digital users by the end of next year. That's 200 million. Today we have 75 million. We've grown that a bunch in the past 5 months. We've taken the website, which used to be down for service hours 29 hours a week, and now it's up 100% of the time. We're in a digital transformation for Social Security.
That is overall a small thing when you talk about what the government does on a day-to-day basis. But this is the kind of stuff that, even if you didn't vote for the people in charge, this is the kind of stuff that is so common sense. The more we get technology, AI, people who have private sector experience involved in government, the more efficient it's going to be. And Frank Bisignano, outside of his claim to fame of being John Anthony's roommate at Baker going back 40 years, he was the Fiserv CEO from 2020 to 2025. Prior to that, he was the COO of JP Morgan Chase. I mean, this guy has made a tremendous amount of money with some of the largest financial institutions in this country. And now he's the Social Security Commissioner. These are people that actually do things and have had great success in the real world. They're not lifelong bureaucrats. They're not, Mayor Pete, whose claim to fame was being the mayor of a city 1/5 the size of Kansas City and liked toy trains, so now he's the transportation secretary. Like, these are serious, accomplished individuals who are in charge now of things like the Social Security Commission. And they're making positive changes. And this stuff is not going to show up in the polling. But I think it's important to share this with the audience and share this with you. Some of the stuff that's going on that's not getting nearly enough attention. Not a good look for a police department that did not want, at least at the leadership level, to be taken over by the feds. They're not being led by the best and the brightest. They're not. So urban crime is a topic that is getting a lot of attention in the wake of Washington, D.C.'s police department being federalized earlier this week. The National Guard is helping out as well. And we know here in Kansas City, it's been a problem, really, since COVID. There was a trend in the right direction briefly prior to that. But since COVID, we've dealt with, sadly, the most violent 5-year run in modern Kansas City history. And it's not unique to Kansas City. Chicago's had issues. We know Washington, D.C., if you follow the national news, has had a lot of issues as well. But, part of it is who you put in charge, right? It's why these leadership positions are so important. It's why you want to make sure you've got great police chiefs in your major American cities. And not people who are hired because of their sex or their gender or, well, I guess those are the same thing. Sex, gender, race, none of that should matter at all. You just want really competent people who can lead major organizations, especially in times of crisis. That's what you need. And for a police department that people have been screaming about for the last few days, saying, no, we're doing fine. Don't touch this. Crime is down in D.C. I don't know. You tell me. Here's Washington, D.C. Police Chief Pamela Smith yesterday during a press conference following the announcement on Monday that their police department has been taken over by the feds. Take a listen.
That's what the chain of command is now?
What does that mean?
Well, is it Pam Bondi speaking to the mayor, speaking to you, or how does this work?
So the executive order is clear. The president has requested MPD services, and our home rule charter outlines the process. The president designated Attorney General Bondi as his proxy to request services through me.
All right. I want to play the first 5 seconds of that one more time. A reporter asks the police chief, do you know what the chain of command is now? And the police chief says, what does that mean?
She's a real beauty.
You can't make it up. Please, just the first 5 seconds there one more time.
That's what the chain of command is now?
What does that mean?
Well, is it Pam Bondi?
What is that? What does that mean? I mean, every business you've ever been a part of has a chain of command. Who are you reporting to? What's the chain of command?
And then she walks off and somebody else comes up and answers.
That was the mayor, Muriel Bowser, who bailed her out. The police chief has the most deer-in-the-headlights look you could possibly have when a reporter says, what is your chain of command? And she says, what does that mean? Part of this is prime example of why you don't elevate people from roles like chief equity officer to police chief. That's what she was. The police chief, Pamela Smith, prior to becoming the chief, was the chief equity officer. She led the department's efforts on DEI. And then she became the freaking chief of police. I mean, goodness gracious, you wonder why these places can't function. Why they're operating so poorly. Why they're in part seeing such massive spikes in crime in the case of D.C. Well, when you have someone who's the police chief, who prior to that was basically the DEI coordinator, boy, you're kind of asking for it. Not exactly the cream of the crop there. Man, I saw that clip and I'm like, I've got to make sure this is not AI. I got to make sure this is not artificial intelligence. And you got to do that these days because a lot of things on social media you see just simply aren't true. Like the amount of weird AI-generated Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift things on social media are absurd. And I was like, let me double check on this one. Nope. We got a police chief who was like, what does chain of command mean? Thankfully, we've had good police chiefs here in Kansas City. Rick Smith was outstanding. Stacey Graves doing a very good job following up in his position as well. And, so far, I think she's had a tricky job balancing the politics and knowing that she's got to play nicer with Mayor Lucas than, let's be honest, Rick Smith ever did or wanted to. But, it's a balancing act, and it seems like she's done a pretty good job of that thus far. But remember, too, when it comes to law enforcement, they're only one part of the equation here. You've got, obviously, prosecutors. You've got judges that you can't control if you're a police department. And when you're short-staffed to begin with, there's a lot of this that, obviously, they can't control. But what they can do, what they can continue to advance, is making people feel safer by being visible, by being transparent, and by obviously answering calls in timely fashions. And that's been, unfortunately, not great for Kansas City, but a lot of that has been also driven by the fact that they don't have enough bodies. I mean, they're short hundreds of police officers in this town. So then there's this general question that's out there. Do police make streets safer? It's a very simple question. Basically, are we finally turning our backs to the absurd narratives of earlier this decade of police are bad, cops are bad, we don't want police, we don't like police are actually the problem, and just coming back to an agreed upon sentiment that cops inherently are good? It doesn't mean every cop is great. There are bad cops out there. But the idea of police officers being present in our communities makes streets safer. I think we're getting there amongst most people. But the loudest voices that get amplified on cable news and on social media, they're not there yet. Here's an example of that. This was on Morning Joe, MSNBC yesterday. Joe Scarborough talking to Simone Sanders. She worked for Joe Biden in a communications role. Then she got a gig on cable news. And he asked her a very simple question. Don't you think police make streets safer? And here's what she had to say in that back and forth.
You don't think more police make streets safer?
No, Joe. I'm a black woman in America. I do not always think that more police make streets safer. When you walk down the streets of Georgetown, you don't see a police officer on every corner, but you don't feel unsafe. So what is it about talking about places like Southeast D.C., right? Ward 8, if you will, that people say, well, we need more officers to make us safe. I think we have to rethink what safety means in America.
And we're still doing that. rethink, reimagine. We're still using those little keywords and code words. Really? I think this is an 80-20 issue. And if you want to amplify voices on certain cable news channels that will still try to convince you that police are somehow inherently not good and not welcomed, and say, well, in Georgetown, I mean, have you been to Georgetown? It's littered with multi-million-dollar townhouses, okay? You don't need cops or as many cops in places that don't have a lot of crime. You just don't need it. The notion that that has anything to do with race or the race of the residents is just being disingenuous. You're not a serious person. But, when your career is built on race hustling, that's the kind of stuff you got to say. But even Al Sharpton's hearing Simone Sanders, and he's somewhere blushing.
Show some RESPICT.
It's 8:13, and we're glad you're here on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. Streaming, as always, on the KCMO Talk Radio app. Our buddy Patrick Toohey is going to be in the studio coming up at 8:30 this morning on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. And in the meantime, we continue to follow this story in Kansas City that went viral last night on social media. We'll tell you what that was coming up next. Went viral last night on social media, got national attention. The Kansas City Sunfresh at 31st and Prospect closing down. This clip from Fox 4 was picked up by a bunch of multi-million social media accounts, and here's what it sounded like.
I don't understand. We need this store. We do.
Alicia Batson shopped here on Monday and was going to come back here for groceries today. As soon as our interview was done, she started to cry. Part of the reason why she was so emotional may be because of what she told us in the first 30 seconds of our conversation.
What are we supposed to do as a community? Where am I going to go now? Where am I going to go get stuff for my kids?
Well, and I don't say this to be obnoxious. I'm just saying this to literally help out, to fact. There is an Aldi 8 blocks south on Prospect that I think many of the folks who may have shopped at that Sunfresh at 31st and Prospect will now be going to. Now, it's about a mile walk if you don't have transportation, but still, there is an Aldi 8 blocks away. But the story here is more about the Sunfresh getting $17 million to get started from the city of Kansas City, Missouri, when it launched. And it most recently, earlier this year, got $161,000 in rent relief and $750,000 in expedited funding so it could remain open. It's not even the end of August, and they're shutting down. When I have Quentin Lucas on tomorrow, I am going to ask him where the heck the $750,000 went and the $161,000 in rent relief. I mean, maybe the rent relief was something that was just basically subtracted from their rent. I'm not exactly sure how that part of it would work. But when you're talking about $750,000 in expedited funding so that the Sunfresh could remain open, that's just money from the taxpayer that's gone. It's not coming back. And you look at this and you say to yourself, okay, if you're the mayor of Kansas City and the mayor defended this Sunfresh, this was in late July when it was becoming a national story as well. And the reason that this Sunfresh, this random grocery store on the east side of Kansas City got national attention is because in New York City, in that mayor's race there, this guy who's in the lead, Mamdani, who's a self-described socialist, has talked about basically having government-run food stores. The mayor has noted that this Sunfresh was not run by the city. It was a privately run operation. But yes, of course, it has gotten millions of dollars in subsidies from the city. And as he puts it, we've given subsidies to Sunfresh to get food into the communities of need. Well, there's an Aldi down the road that, once again, as far as I can tell, is not getting a dime from the city of Kansas City, Missouri, but we can clarify that with the mayor tomorrow when he joins this show. But the problem with this Sunfresh was multifold. First off, you had a lot of issues that the Kansas City Star, to its credit, highlighted here, including the fact that you had employees reporting a ton of safety concerns, So were shoppers. Shoppers reported frequent 911 calls for fights and drug use and public sex as well. That was happening outside of a grocery store. I mean, how many? I was at a Hy-Vee with my kids on. It was Sunday morning after church. I took Claire, my oldest, and Charlotte, my youngest. I took them to the grocery store. Mom got dropped off at home with the middle one. They got going on lunch. We ran to Hy-Vee. Could you imagine walking into a grocery store? It's something that 99% of us can't even fathom this. Could you imagine walking into your local Price Chopper, Hy-Vee, Costco, whatever you prefer to shop at, and literally seeing something that obscene? It's beyond disgusting. It's horrific. And you wonder why people didn't want to shop there. Right? I mean, it's not even, you look at it, it's not even about what the grocery store had. It's about the fact that you don't want to be in a store where, first off, you got to worry about your own security, and you got to wonder what you're going to see when you walk in. I mean, when I walk into my Hy-Vee, I'm just hoping that there's a cart there I can put the baby in. I'm not thinking about whether or not I'm seeing acts of lewdness at the front door to greet me as I'm walking into my grocery store. So a part of this, too, was the customer basically voting with their feet and saying, I'm not going here. That's why they had empty shelves, in part, because people were stealing from it. Also, they didn't have enough shoppers to keep certain goods on the shelves, and the employees as well. How about this in the Kansas City Star report? Teenage grocery shelf stockers were forced to carry tasers. Boy, you think that might be a tough gig to hire for? Yeah, kid, while you're stacking the bananas here, make sure you have your taser in your back right pocket or back left if you're left-handed. That way you can kind of do a quick jiu-jitsu thing and spin around and start tasing people if they're about to beat you over the head and steal some bananas. This is about so much more than just trying to solve a food desert. And it's not even a food desert. I mean, when there's an Aldi 8 blocks away, I don't know how that's the definition of a food desert. And then you got the mayor saying here on social media, back on July 18th, we in New York City subsidize sports and luxury housing. I see no controversy expanding access to food in transit. I do. Because time and time again, it fails. I'm not saying I like subsidizing sports. I'm not a fan of it. In a perfect world, it wouldn't happen. I understand it's part of the game. But at least there's like civic pride that comes with subsidizing sports. At least you know that it's like a guaranteed business model that does end up making money, and there's an inherent value to having pro sports in a community. It's hard to pinpoint what exactly the dollar figure is, but it definitely exists. It's not the case with grocery stores, just not. Parkville, that's where Victor is. Go ahead, Victor. You're on KCMO.
How you doing, Pete? You know, this is all part of a bigger picture of why, quote unquote, there are these food deserts. It's because the private investment cannot absorb the crime and the security with their slim margins. So all your major producers, all your major stores, they're out of there. They can't afford it. That's why you need to have a government store to come in. But now they've shown even the government store, which is subsidized to the tune, as you put, $17 million, even they can't make it work. On top of this, this is the same kind of quote-unquote neighborhood that is screaming about police brutality, no police, defund the police. Well, then you have to police yourself. Oh, wait, you can't do that. That's why crime is so high. So maybe if you didn't want to defund the police and you let them do their job and they could put the criminals in jail if you had a decent prosecutor and you built the jail to actually put the criminals in there to get them off of the street, you might be able to bring storebacks so you wouldn't have to walk a frickin' mile in the snow and the heat to get your frickin' groceries, and private investment would come back. It's not that complicated, or is it?
Enough. I've had enough of this common sense from you. Goodbye, Victor. Thank you. Sir. Have a great day. Enough of the common sense. 30 seconds, Mike and Olathe. It's all yours.
Wow, Tirade Wednesday, Pete. What's up? Hey, listen, this is Mom Donnie microcosm Mondani's wish right here. So if it went national, it needs to go national. This is what's going to happen, and maybe Cuomo and some of these others can get it out there, but it's just exactly what will happen, and you got weak leadership. And, hey, blue cities, man, it sort of seems to happen all the time, doesn't it?
Too frequently. You're right about that. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you.